A sea of blue sending their fallen hero home. Officer Jonathan De Guzman being saluted as a modest and humble servant.
He was just a wonderful soul. He was a wonderful human being.
The farewell for a devoted son and loving father, full of tears.
I regret so many things. Like, I wish I was able to spend more time with him.
But also stories and laughs.
Yeah, man, we're gonna get this guy. He ain't getting away.
His watch has ended.
We love you so much.
Now his legacy begins.
I will always remember my dad.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ann State along with Ariel Wessler, and we're coming to you live from the Shadow Mountain Church in El Cajon, where today I think it's fair to say that we all really gained a greater appreciation, a greater idea of just who the officer was that we lost last week in San Diego. A huge loss.
Yeah, we witnessed just an incredible tribute in the church behind us to Officer Jonathan De Guzman. Most importantly, his family really came out. His mom, we were both surprised to see coming up to talk in public. Such a feat. She had just some incredibly passionate words, as did his two children, his 11-year-old daughter and his 17-year-old son, Jonathan De Guzman II. Take a listen.
Most importantly to me, he was my son. He was my son. Jonathan was my first child and the eldest of his generation in our family. He was the older brother to my son, Jonathan. I love you very much, and you will always be in my heart. Your dad and your siblings, your niece and your nephews, will always love you forever. We love you so much.
And he won't be there when I graduate. He won't button my cufflinks or fix my tie. He won't be there if I get married. He won't see me graduate college, and he won't be at any more of my competitions or important events. And I still vividly remember the day when the chief and 3 others came to my house to tell me that my dad passed. And I regret so many things. Like, I wish I was able to spend more time with him.
A lot of emotion there, and the emotions running high as well as Officer De Guzman's brothers and sisters in blue took the podium. And this is one moment that really struck us. You see the officers in a group hug, breaking down in tears as they spoke about the man that they knew and they loved, Officer Jonathan De Guzman.
And we heard, of course, a lot of sad tributes, but some funny ones as well, coming from his fellow officers. And they had us laughing at one second and crying the next.
They really did. It was really a wave of emotions. And our colleague, Riel Creighton, is actually on the other side of the church joining us live with some of what they had to say. Riel.
Ariel and Ann, incredibly emotional as many of his fellow officers painted a picture of Officer De Guzman not only as an officer but also as a friend. He was on the gang suppression unit, a notoriously difficult assignment. Johnny E. Marino, one of his best friends who sat beside Officer De Guzman in a squad car for some 10 years, broke down on the podium as he talked about June 28th, the day that Officer De Guzman died, describing it as one of the darkest moments of his life.
Over the last week, I've struggled with my emotions, as so many others have. Sleepless nights, crying, followed by anger. Why? Why JD? Why would God rob this world, this department, his friends, and his family of this unbelievable person? Then one night I woke up at 3 a.m. and had the answer. I guess God wanted JD on his team, and for that I can't blame him.
Yeah, he actually took one final moment with his friend at the casket. While there was definitely a lot of pain shared from that podium, there was also a lot of laughter too, and we will bring you more of that coming up tonight at 5 o'clock. Ariel and Ann.
Yeah, it was a really nice balance just when you were crying. Next thing
They
you know,
brought you
were
up in
laughing.
spirits, for sure. And another big part of this service, of course, is tradition. This funeral is so deeply rooted in tradition. Another powerful moment, San Diego police officers removing the flag from the casket, folding it, and presenting it to Officer De Guzman's widow.
Yeah, it was really nice to see that ceremony, and the grief and the tributes, the pouring out of emotion that we saw here inside the church was also, really, you could say, going on for miles outside the church as well.
Yeah, and 10 News reporter Craig Herrera was watching this long procession make its way through town. Craig?